Welcome to Beerfield. This is really just a test to see if we get copyright claim for that or not. I am your host. I was curious. I was down the old WCW theme rabbit hole and was real curious if we were going to get copyright claim for this one because, I mean, does YouTube even care about old WCW themes? Hulk Hogan, by the way, I forgot this one existed. I am at Beerfield Hop. This is at Beerfield 30. Dan, what's up?
Oh, man, just another... like hyped up. I'm hyped. I was talking to Hopper pre-show, and I'm like, I'm fucking tired, man. It's raining out here. It's gloomy. I've got shit for sleep. Now I'm just ready. Like, we're in the Scott Fish Bowl. You got your invite over the weekend.
I did, and you were here when that happened. On the morning I found out, you were still asleep, so I tried not to squeal. It had nothing to do with my kids still being asleep, also.
Yeah. I'm more important. Don't wake up, Dan.
That's right. Don't wake 30. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
I
get mean.
Speaking of, before we get into Scott Fish Bowl, because this is going to be a we're going to the Scott Fish Bowl heavy type episode. Cheers, Dan. So Midwest, or just the FF Expo now, Fantasy Football Expo, Canton, Ohio. FFExpo.com. Get your tickets if you haven't yet. You look for a weekend getaway. COVID's winding down. It's probably been like a year and a half since you've been on a vacation somewhere. Great time to take a vacation. Make a weekend of it. Go to Cleveland. Not Cleveland, Canton. You can go to Cleveland, too, if you want. But
yeah,
Canton.
If you want to.
See the Hall of Fame. Come hang out at the Expo on Sunday. Head on out on Monday. Take a chill day. Make it a long 3-day weekend. You know, we'll have some fun with it. It's in August 13th, 14th.
14th? The Sunday.
Whatever the Sunday is of that weekend of the 10th. But the earlier 10th, not the later 10th. It's just how I'm doing calendars.
Jesus Christ.
I
love it.
And I haven't even had beer yet, but I definitely need one. Oh, by the way, very Scott Fish heavy episode. Dan and I are both on the clock with some picks, so we're going to do that. Talk strategy as we do it. Talk overall strategy.
These are mock drafts for those
mock
that are
drafts,
wondering.
Yes.
These are Scott Fish mock drafts.
Yep.
I don't think it officially starts until
July 5th.
July 5th? Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, July 5th. So it's close, but...
very close.
Yep. Official mock drafts underway. We'll get into format, how format matters to how you draft, why it's important that you mock draft. We've done episodes like this before. It's just been a while. And our promise has been we're going to talk about what's on our mind, and the only thing that's been on our mind, really, that's of any substance is actually Scott Fish Bowl for the last 2 weeks as we've tried to figure out what our strategy is for this year's scoring, how we're going to draft, how players are going to be evaluated, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a fun time, huge league. Dan, you're not allowed to play in a league with your podcast mates, so Dan and I don't get to. But we did make sure we got the same draft pick so we can strategize together. So there's that.
Yeah, so that's been the cool thing that Scott's done over the last couple of years is that he's allowed people to kind of request a draft slot. And this year, especially with being able to, I guess, request your division, Scott's allowing a lot of us to be able to, do our best to pick and choose who we want to play with. Because this year is based around music. And obviously, if you guys have listened to this show long enough, Hopper and I are huge music fans.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gone down that route. I've got my preference of division. I got my preference of draft slot, which obviously let Hopper pick the same one. So now we can figure out from the 3-hole
what we want to do. And that's kind of what played into my division selection is just, so I got added late. So, normally the last couple of years I'd been added early on to where, or the last couple of years, I didn't get to participate last year. That other guy from the show, whatever his name was.
That fucking other guy.
That other dude that used to be on this show. He got to participate last year. I did not. So, but the 2 years prior, I got in early, got my division selection and everything. This year got in late, so it was really kind of what's left as I worked through it. You want to try to get a division that is a little representative of you. But I was also looking specifically for a division that had the 3-pick open so that I could at least strategize with Dan since we can't be in the same division. Now, you did still have spots open in yours.
I did.
I do still have spots open in mine as of yesterday.
Oh.
So.
And he sent out the satellites, so he's good. Scott's busy.
Yeah.
I don't know how that man sleeps. I don't think he does, actually.
Yeah. Huge ups to him for that. Instead of direct donations this year, he's just encouraging donations to charity of our choice, any choice. I'll announce what mine's going to be next week. So, and make that donation.
That's awesome. I will do the same.
All right, awesome. So, by the way, I'm in the Katy Perry division. Dan's in the Slipknot division. So, polar opposites. Katy Perry, though, special place in my heart. Particularly Dark Horse being the soundtrack to a lot of good nights. So,
I mean, how dope would it be if we had a Slipknot featuring Katy Perry song though? Like, just
I don't know how that
just
would
to
go.
witness
Have you
like Corey Taylor and Katy Perry on the same stage, the same song? That'd be.
Have you seen it? Have you listened to any of the remixes that are on YouTube, like Psychosocial Baby, where they mix like Psychosocial with Justin Bieber and stuff?
Yes,
those
that's
are pretty
actually really good though.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah, and like you have like the old baby metal genre where it influences a lot of like, pop,
right?
With that like hard metal sound. So I think it could work. We'll make it happen. We'll
making her appearance. Her
appearance.
Her weekly show appearance.
Her weekly. She has to go to the bathroom right when I record.
And now Owen.
Yes.
All right.
The whole family. And now my turn. No, I'm kidding.
Whole fam family.
That's right.
What's fueling Beerfield?
All right. What's fueling us? Because I'm in a drinking mood now that I'm off my 12-hour workday and have a little bit of time to relax. Thursdays for me have always been synonymous with those are the days I kind of let loose a little bit. Get ready for the weekend, don't have to focus too much. So I have something from Platform Beer Co. out of, I believe these guys are out of Cincinnati? Someplace in Ohio. Cleveland, of course.
Of course. It's always Cleveland.
Because I mentioned Cleveland earlier. Now
it's always Cleveland.
Now it's just going to be a Cleveland show.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the Cleveland show.
Not Cleveland. No. It's just going to be a Cleveland show. A show based around Cleveland that's got nothing to do with Cleveland.
Which is very underrated, by the way. Not Cleveland isn't underrated. I meant the Cleveland show is very underrated. Love you, Cleveland. Nothing against you.
Nope, not at all.
I have Apple Zaps. It's a cereal-inspired sour ale with apples from Platform Beer Co. out of Cleveland, Ohio. Please don't kill me for thinking it was Cincinnati. 16 fluid ounces, 1 pint. You don't see a lot of apple in beer because apples are typically associated with with ciders, yes, but apples typically associated, especially sour apple, typically associated with an off flavor in beer from a chemical compound you don't normally want. So it's rare to find a true straight apple beer. Reds did it with the apple ale, one of the first ones that was just out there that isn't a cider, and there's not a whole lot of others. So, yeah, we'll see how I like it. It's definitely unique. You don't see a whole lot of these. Dan, what do you got?
We're gonna end the Minnesota tour here. I got Black Stack Brewing. They're out of St. Paul, Minnesota. I talk about them a lot. For those who do not know, surprisingly enough. Their brewery shares a building with my uncle's business, so I've kind of grown fondly of them. This is a double dry hop triple IPA. Clocks in at 10%. This has cashmere, strata, mosaic. It's a fucking shit ton of cashmere. You have the regular cashmere, they have cashmere cryo, mosaic, strata, a talus. Not really sure what talus is. I'll look that up. But those are the hot build in this.
Hey, you brought me one of those, didn't you?
I did. I dropped you off the two that I got.
I know that because I was reading the hot bills when I was picking my beer for tonight, and I saw talus, and I'm like, what is that? Hold on, I will let you know. Let me pull up the world's largest hop list.
I'm doing the same thing.
And let's see what it says.
Go to T.
Because there's a bajillion hops in the world not on there.
Nope. Interesting.
Okay, let me go to a homebrew store and see what they say. HPC 692. Okay, I know what that is.
Yeah, it's not even. It's a year old. Not even a year old.
Yeah, they actually named.
It's a hybrid pollination of Sabro.
Yeah. Which 342, 472 HBC hops are usually experimental type hops. So,
Have you heard of this new way of using hops in beer now?
which one?
It's a new style. No, it's not cryo. I'm starting to see pop up. I just thought of this as we're rating off different hops because we love beer. We need to talk about beer. There is
Sure.
a new style that I've seen floating around. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck it's called. I know Triptych's done it in a bunch of their beer recently.
I think you mentioned this to me once too.
It like my old boss at Benny's is like, I guess, a huge fan of the style.
This was like, it was when you added them super early, right? It wasn't like first word hopping.
No,
but-
but
or
it's
is
not that one. So this is like, it's like a different style of hop. It's not a different way to add hops. It's like a different way of, here we go. I found the name. It is, fuck, maybe not.
No, I have not heard of that style of using hops.
Fuck what. Oh no, it's going to bother me. Damn it.
Should we hold the show until you figure it out?
We can move on with the show until Dan figures out what this is called. Yeah. Anyways.
I used to have something for this. Sorry, I was looking for a drop.
Oh, like the elevator music?
I used to have the Jeopardy theme, the Jeopardy music. Anyway,
Well, no. We can talk about other things. I will
continue to think about it. I mean, this is such a cliffhanger, though. Nobody's gonna want to drop off of this show now until they know.
You're welcome. I'm like looking up beer styles, just so I can find the actual fucking name of it, of the hop. Like, so it's a different way of. I hate everything. right now.
HDHC, whatever that is.
Beers. Oh, there's a triptych.
Awkward silence makes great podcasting.
Great radio, guys.
We don't edit
I know.
either, so that's not gonna work.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm really glad.
You had to go down this rabbit hole, huh?
I said you could keep moving.
Yeah,
on.
but
I thought I could find it sooner.
Gonna bother me now too. Just text
Uh,
Zach. I'm assuming it was Zach.
oh, Lane.
Text Lane if you really want to.
Hate everything.
Because you have to text Lane.
I can't. No. Well, no. I hate everything because I don't know what it's called.
I hate everything because we've been waiting for you to figure it out now for
I know.
3 minutes and 42 seconds.
No. Yeah. But who's counting, right?
I made that up. I don't know if it's really been that long. It feels like
It's
it.
probably, I think it's been longer than that.
Anyway. Let's talk Scott Fishbowl. Let's get these picks in before
All right,
people get
let's
mad
do it.
at us.
Yes.
So, for those that don't know, Scott Fishbowl, giant league. I think it's up to 1,900 teams. Split across a ton of divisions. So we'll focus in each division's essentially a 12-team league. We won't focus on playoff format. We'll focus more on scoring format. So a couple big things with Scott Fishbowl that are different from regular leagues. The first one is quarterback scoring. It is a super flex league, so quarterbacks are valued higher anyway. But you're penalized a lot more for interceptions in this league than any other league that I play in, basically. You know, quarterback has a bad week, you could easily be looking negative 13, negative 15 points. Whereas if your opponent has a mediocre week, you're looking 18 to 20. That's a huge swing on any week. Reason for that is 6-point touchdown, but -4 for interception and -2 for interception that's returned for a touchdown. So, I mean, you have the ability to completely, you can go out there and throw 3 picks, 2 touchdowns, you're negative. You completely undone your day.
Yeah, and like, so he did this scoring last year too. This hardcore negative to help truly balance, but so he did it in a way because he wanted to truly highlight the elite quarterbacks and really reward, the best of the best too. So I think, I talked to Hopper about this past weekend, and I believe Baker 1 week last year. It was a game against Pittsburgh when it was raining outside, shady weather. Where I think Cleveland lost like 35-3 or some shit like that. Baker had negative 13 points, and like where you want to have multiple quarterbacks because you have a super flex position, it really gave people pause, and they didn't have two great quarterbacks to play. Like if you don't have a great quarterback to play in that super flex spot, is it smart to? Like it made you have to pay a lot more attention. Because if you play the wrong quarterback and they fuck up, yes, kickers are people too. And yes, this year we do have kickers in the flex. You can flex kickers.
You can, and the way that they did that was super interesting as well. Because while leagues are trying to get rid of kickers, they found a way to double down on it because it's fractional scoring for field goal yards. So a guy like Justin Tucker, for example, could very, very easily net you, a 14 to 18 point game on any given week, which is better value than you'd get out of putting a running back in your flex. And so it really helps kind of evaluate and offset that. You got a guy that kicks three 30-yard field goals. Well, you're only at 9 points right there. You get a guy that kicks, a 30, a 40, and a 50, 12, a little bit of a swing. Extrapolate that over an entire season, gives you a little bit more variance between guys.
So Lane texts me back. It says Cairo Pop. It's a Cairo Pop blend.
Huh.
I feel like that wasn't the name I was looking for, but
I feel like it wasn't either because I definitely mentioned cryo and that should have been a trigger.
I know, but I think that I thought it was a different. I thought there was because this is a blend of it, so it's not that it's doing cryo plus others. I've seen different names for it. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does. But we're beyond that. We're on to Scott Fishbowl. You want to keep talking Scott Fish? We got to make these draft picks, right?
We do got to make these draft picks. So other scoring things, I'm actually trying to get logged in from my computer right now so I can pull up the scoring.
I do have this scoring pulled up. So we have the only other big thing. So for those of you who may not know the scoring of it, it's tight end premium. So, and it's also points per first down. So you're looking at, I think it's half a point for a first down for both rushing and receiving, and then tight ends get an extra half a point for it. So it looks like it raises from 1 to 50.
Oh, yep. Some other things here. Negative 1 point per sack.
Half point.
So that can kill you. Negative 1 point per incompletion.
And those are all there from last year.
Yes, those are all from last year, but it's definitely different than most leagues. You're usually not being docked.
For sure.
You're usually not being docked a point for incompletion. You're usually not being docked a point per sacks. I mean, what you're really looking for is high completion percentage, low interception guys in this one. Or, people that use their legs. Is half point per first down. That's across everything. And half PPR. And then you also have an extra half point per first down, half point per reception for tight ends. So, and then kicking is decimal scoring for field goals.
Yep. And I think,
yeah,
there's some, and then there is points loss. -3 for missed field goals.
Yep. And also return yards.
Yeah. And this isn't, these are from all ranges too. It's not just like you miss a 50-yarder, you don't lose points. You lose -3 for every missed field goal.
For every missed field goal, 3 points. So
yeah,
be interesting to see how that shakes out because that's definitely new.
I'm in the 13th round of my mock, and we've had 2 kickers go.
Have you?
Yep.
All right. Let's go ahead and you want me to pick first, or do you want to go first? I'm in the fifth round. Nope, sorry. I'm in the 6th round.
We can talk about yours.
Okay. So I started quarterback. I went Dak first, and then flipped around and went with George Kittle in the 2nd round. Again, tight end premium. So people normally go, you're going to go tight end early. That's at least a top-tier tight end early.
Yep.
From there, went with Stephon Diggs. So one of the things here is that wide receivers tend to be falling a bit, but with Diggs still on the board in the third round, even though there's definitely talent there to be had, wanted to make sure I had at least one stud. And then went Edwards-Helaire because in taking Diggs early, kind of was running out of running backs that figure to be useful. And then Zach Wilson is my second quarterback, and I have a plan for going around that. So, and it was between Zach Wilson and Jared Goff, basically, there, because of the run on quarterbacks that had happened before me.
Yeah.
So I went Wilson just because a little bit more of a rushing floor. Jets figured out to throw 600 times a game. Don't really have a running game laid out.
And Goff's going to be – the only benefit for
bad.
Goff is Detroit's going to have a very good offensive line, and they're going to be very probably run-focused.
Yep.
Goff's probably not going to be asked to do a whole lot, at least.
And I shouldn't say they were the
successful.
only guys left, but for my second quarterback, there's probably going to be another 1 to 2 upside picks here that happen. So I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking I could go for another wide receiver. We may look and see what tight ends are still potentially there because Kittle's not exactly a model of health. Could go ahead and grab that second running back because taking running backs that late, I'm going to need some variety to hope something hits. And then could also go quarterback, which is, usually a weakness for me. So I try not to overcompensate for that, but I might have to. So your thoughts on that so far? And you probably hate the Wilson pick.
No, I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't – again, I don't hate Zach Wilson. Hopper does not hate Justin Fields. It's just how it I don't know because you need to get quarterbacks. It's – what I've taken was Trey Lance still on the board? I would have probably taken him with the high.
I wanted to
high
get somebody I knew was guaranteed to start, and then the idea is to here in the next couple rounds get another person that's high upside. It might sound gross, but Watson if he plays, a Justin Fields, a Trey Lance, some of the guys that are still there that have.
Yeah, I would.
Jameis
I would
Winston.
lean to get one of those because between him and Dak, you have that's just insane. Lance is going to play at some point. Fields will play at some point. And then you have your starters. They may not play right away, but that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the super flex spot. You don't have to play quarterback right away if you can or if you can't need to.
Right. You want to have two, but you don't have to. Now, the other thing is running backs with the fact that I only have one right now, and it's Edwards-Helaire. You got Sanders and Gaskin still there. After that, you kind of get into that next tier. James Robinson.
Sanders is still a good pick in the 6th.
Yeah, James Robinson's also still there. I
do like Gaskins because there's no competition, and we figured Miami's going to have a good offense this year. Tua should take a big step forward. They added a lot of weapons and no running backs.
So let me give you.
I don't give a fuck about Doik. So
let me give you a couple. Let me put it this way. Let me give you a couple running backs that are still there. So Miles Sanders, Myles Gaskin, Chase Edmonds. Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
Still going. Sorry.
No.
Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, Leonard Fournette, and then David Johnson, Mike Davis, Damian Harris.
You said you're in the 6th. You have a long time until you have to pick again.
Let me go look. I don't remember if I'm on the turn right now or not.
No, if you're even round, you're gonna be coming out of the turn.
Yeah, this is 6:03, so I'm coming out of the turn. So yes, I do have a long time before I have to pick again. Quarterbacks that are still available. Let me sort this real quick. Blake Bortles, who should be the starter in Green Bay. Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, who won't start. Sam Darnold's still available. Justin Fields is still available. Jimmy Garoppolo is still out there, just listing off starters. Jared Goff is still out there, or guys that figure to play. Let's see.
So I'll
Mac Jones is still out there. Trey Lance is still out there.
I'd probably wait. I think I took my third quarterback in the 8th round.
Yeah,
I got Fitzpatrick there.
Drew Lock's still out there. So I mean, there's still guys that are there. Cam Newton's still there. So I mean, there's still. I think it's probably the play here is to go running back. Let me check on tight end.
Miles Sanders. I took Miles Sanders in the 4th.
I know. Miles
that
Sanders
he's
still being here is probably what the play is.
I think you should take a running back because you're not going to have. There's going to be a large gap between picks.
Yeah. And they're probably going to go. Mike Gesicki's still out there. Logan Thomas is still out there from a tight end perspective. Evan Ingram. So Jared Cook. There's still tight ends out here to try to get another one a little bit later on that aren't nobody. So
I got Goddard in
Tyler Higbee, Noah Fant.
In the 9th round, too. So tight ends, at least in my mock, went a bit later.
There's still guys out there. I think the pick's Miles Sanders.
Okay.
It's one of the one of the Mileses, and I think it's probably. Would you go Sanders or Gaskin?
It's funny enough. I took both. I took Sanders to 403, and then I doubled back and took Gaskin to 510.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab Sanders here to go with Edwards-Helaire, and then we'll look at what's best available next round at a running back, how many quarterbacks are still left, et cetera, et cetera. So. As it sits right now, quarterbacks Dak Prescott, Zach Wilson, running backs Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders, Diggs is my top wide receiver right now, George Kittle. There are guys like DJ Moore, Robert Woods, Julio Jones, still a bunch of ones hanging around, or a bunch of wide receivers you'd be happy to have as your 2 hanging around on the board. So wide receivers in this draft do go in. And it's consistent among what we've seen in most mocks. Wide receivers in these mocks do go consistently later. There's a lot of value in wide receivers. People are not jumping for them.
Yeah, I mean, with the tight end premium, with the importance of grabbing high-end quarterbacks because of the scoring and the scarcity of running backs, just in general, wide receivers in this format are just. They're the least valued in terms of.
Yeah, they are. They become the new tight ends because there's so many of them at that point. And the only thing you got going for a wide receiver that is outside of normal is that half point per first down. Other than that, it's normal wide receiver scoring.
Okay. All right. So mine, I am a little bit further. I started this mock, I think, about a week or so before Hopper got his invite and got into his. My team at the moment, we're in the 13th round. I have Fitzpatrick, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers. My running backs are ETN, Gaskins, Ronald Jones with an auto pick because I don't remember the notifications. Miles Sanders. Receivers are Bateman, Chark, and McLaurin. And then tight ends are Goddard and Kelsey. How the draft started, so what's cool about this is that every draft slot has its own Twitter group, and ours is constantly being talked in. A lot of strategy, and early on when the group started, it was a lot of, okay, what do we do here? I think the 103 is the most wide open pick, at least at the top of the board here. McCaffrey and Mahomes are generally your 1 and 2 or some variant of that. So the 3 spot, you have obviously Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott. You can go tight end, with Travis Kelsey. You may even front with running back with Barkley and Cook there. With the tight end premium format, and this bodes so well for Kelsey for his involvement in that Kansas City offense, I opted to go tight end there. And then I double back with Hurts and Rodgers with my next 2 picks, and then I waited till the 4th round to get my running backs, and that's where I went Sanders and Gaskin. I got my wide receiver 1 and Terry McLaurin in the 6th round, which is, I think, insane value, but also just speaks to the importance of waiting for wide receiver to not reach ever, at least in this format. And then I came back around, took Travis Etienne it's a target upside. He's going to get the pass catching targets. He may not get all the carries, and I fully expect
It's
James
also
Robinson.
the fact that when you wait until the 4th round to go running back, you're going to be picking a lot of these upside guys that should have a decent floor, and if they hit, you're going to be really happy with, and if they don't, you're going to feel kind of mad about them, but they're not totally going to kill you either. And by taking a plethora of guys like that, you're more than likely to have two or three of them hit. It's not a total zero RB strategy, but it's basically the same premise as zero RB.
Yeah, it's what a lot of people call a modify. But modify is generally one elite, and then you wait on running backs and you just load up everywhere else. Mm-hmm. I decided because running backs will also get pushed early on in the format, I was still able to get value. The fact that I got Sanders, Gaston, and then ETN, all 3 running backs.
Well, in the
second half of the season could be obviously full-time starters.
The scoring format is going to help some of those third down backs too, like an ETN as he's being hyped up anyway.
Yep.
Like a guy like maybe a Tariq Cohen, a Naeem Hines.
You can get very late in drafts too,
because you have that extra half point per first down. So, receiving backs are going to help you out there.
And then 8th round, I went Ryan Fitzpatrick to get my 3rd quarterback. So 3 starters. Obviously, I don't have to rely on on Fitz, but he's there if I got him. Getting Goddard in the 9th round, I know he's kind of cooled off, but to be able to grab that second tight end who could be a good safety net and a safety blanket for Jalen Hurts, I like the value there. DJ Chark, Jacksonville hasn't figured out who the number 1 receiver is, and you can get value on all 3, and this includes Marvin Jones, just with how that offense figures to be. I'll take the Chark upside. I took Bateman because wide receiver 1 and because I got to be on brand. And then Jones was my auto pick, and I'm on the clock. Now, again, 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 3 receivers, 2 tight ends. I don't have a screaming need. I don't need quarterback. There are a couple tight ends that intrigue me. The running backs have reached a point where I want to wait. So I'm really looking at just receiver at this point. There are some pass catching backs there so left, but I'm not in dire need to grab them. I think I can wait on some of the higher end handcuffs. Guys like Darrell Henderson, Tariq Cohen, are still available, and there's no need for me to reach. Devin Singletary, even we hate him here, but Buffalo's offense is extremely going to be fucking phenomenal this year again. If anything that happens to Zach Moss, it should be his show. And that same thing goes with Darrell Henderson and players of that nature. So wide receivers, available or tough? You look at ranking wise, we're not taking Beasley.
No.
So don't worry about that.
No, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. So Marvin Jones, Henry Ruggs, T.Y. Hilton, Rashad Perriman, Nelson Aguilar is the guy I'm looking at because he's the wide receiver 1 on that offense.
I'd never say no to Nelly.
Nope. Jalen Reagor, Gabe Davis with the Beasley thing, but
they got Sanders there too, though. So I mean,
Sanders, yep. And we can talk shit about Beasley, and we both fucking.
You still got to respect that he's gonna get.
He's
targets.
Still on the team, and he hasn't retired yet.
Right. So I mean, Gabe Davis he's still clearly he's a high upside 4 that could very well find himself in a 3 or even a 2 before the end of the year. But right now, he's got to be like 3A, 3B on that depth chart with Emmanuel Sanders. So
yeah. And then tight end wise, Jared Cook, and then that's kind of the Blake Jarwin should be still the starter. No, is it? Yeah, it should be Jarwin, but the only tight end I would look at there would be Jared Cook, just given the high upside in that Chargers offense now. But I think the pick, and let's see if you agree with me, is Nelson Aguilar. I'm going to go with a wide receiver 1 on his offense.
Yeah, it's between Nelson Aguilar and T.Y. Hilton for me. And with Hilton, you hope for a little bit of a resurgence with Carson Wentz having a bigger, more accurate arm than Phillip Rivers, and you got Pittman and Paris Campbell coming on strong, but you hope T.Y. has something left in the tank. Aguilar at this stage is anybody that's listened to this show has heard me talk about it. I like to have guys around that have solid floor, is the one in Oakland, Las Vegas last year. Aguilar had very solid floor. He had very solid floor when he was relied on in Philadelphia. He's the type of receiver I like to have on my roster, especially as a depth piece that you can plug in as needed, and he is going to be the one on that team, which, figures to be in a transition space again this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, the big thing is that they just paid him. They paid him a bunch of money. Yes, that offense, he's going to always be on the field. That's what we look for from these guys. He's not my wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. He's my 4.
Yeah.
And
so I would go for Aguilar as a 4 because it gives you some options. And I like it a little bit. The upside on Ty, we could look back on it and say, oh man, he had that resurgence. But Aguilar is going to be the safer pick here, and this isn't where you make dart throws. So
yeah, I mean, it's still a mock, but it's still good to have these conversations into what we believe people should do. So
yeah, because how you're going to be ready for draft day and not completely deer in the headlights, especially when you're playing a format that flips everything upside down. Now you throw us into a standard half PPR format, don't really need to prep for that. We've done so many of those over the years and talk about it so much that if you throw us into a standard single QB half PPR type format, we're just going to know where we want to go. But you throw us in this where you got to take things into account, like first downs, for example. Takes a little bit more and changes your player evaluations entirely. Takes a little bit more. By the way, you know who led the league in first downs last year? By a lot.
Who?
Yeah. Do you know who led the league in first downs last year? Rushing it was Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. Right?
98. Dalvin Cook was next with 91. Your next closest running back, and there's a rushing first downs. It doesn't take into account receiving, by the way. Not doing combined. That takes too much math. Your next closest guys. So, Derrick Henry at 98, Dalvin Cook at 91. From there, Jonathan Taylor at 69.
60. Nice.
And
what's great about that too is that he was constantly fucking sharing the backfield with Hines.
That's for running backs. You do slide some other people in the middle there. Hopkins at 75. Travis Kelce at 79, Hopkins 75, Diggs at 73, Adams at 73, and then Darren Waller at 69. But I mean, how about Cook and Henry?
I know,
helping their value there.
That's insane.
And then Kelce, obviously, there's a reason he went 102 in my mock draft.
Ooh.
Hence why I went for Kittle. I think he went 102. I'm going to bet that real quick. I don't want to be slandering anybody.
So, I'm going to give a plug because we're huge player profiler people here. They dropped their Scott Fish Bowl projections and rankings. Top 7 picks are all quarterbacks.
Sorry, I was wrong. Travis Kelce went 101.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't take him over. It's tough.
I still
don't know if I'm going Travis Kelce.
Somebody's probably just trying something. And went Kelce, Mahomes, and then I had a choice. I looked at McCaffrey, I looked at Allen, and I went Prescott. So.
and again, this just speaks to the to the conundrum of the 103 pick, but it also just it's going to be very interesting to see if I know I can get Darren Waller at the 210. I'm not taking Travis Kelce at the 103. I'll wait for Waller. I may still wait for Kittle, but CBS did a mock with a bunch of those guys and all 3 tight ends. I think Kelce and Kittle were the 102 and 103. These are all, the big CBS guys we've had. Heath comes on the show. We're huge fans. But they've got some controversy based around their mocks, and it just speaks to Scott Fish Bowl and his point scoring.
And a lot of people when they mock are just trying different things, and that's why you mock draft, especially if you're doing a new format. And don't mock draft against computers. Find ones where you can mock against real people, but that's why you mock, because there are different strategies that people will approach these things to, especially when they're not common types of leagues. But even if you're entering in like an IDP league for the first time and you need to figure out how to evaluate defensive players, if you're entering a Superflex league for the first time, if you're, maybe newer. First off, congratulations for listening in June, because that's not when most newer players listen. But
thank you.
yeah, thank you, by the way. But, get in there and mock draft and, really figure out your strategy, figure out where players are going. You'll kind of learn, your draft day is not going to be chalk. There's always something that can throw you for a loop, but you'll kind of learn where things are going to fall, where they're going to go, and what strategy is going to make you happy and what's going to work for you. So,
yeah, so in my mock, Waller went 201, so a turn. Kittle went 209.
So
next tight end off the board was Mark Andrews, which is wrong. Should be Pitts or Hawkinson.
yeah.
At the 503, that cannot be right.
Huh.
503. So Hawk went 511, and Pitts went 504. So you had Andrews and Pitts 503, 504.
Wow. In the fifth
So
round
a mock
on
like
Pitts?
this would make me want to go. This would make me want to lean off of Kelsey
And go
for.
But then you look at mine, and you've got Kelsey, who went 101.
Yeah.
And then a run of, let's see, then Darren Waller went 110.
So that's still right. Yep.
That's right. I had next
thing,
with George Kittle at 210. So it was a full round without a tight end being taken, pretty much.
See, I'd be happy with that. Or again, when did the next guys go? So we should expect to see Kelsey and Waller go first round. Kelsey going probably top 5, top 7.
So the next guy that went was Kyle Pitts at the 402.
Okay.
And then,
Do you think that makes sense then? Do we think that maybe passing on a tight end at the 103? Should we write off tight end off the board? Because now that brings in
and then
guys like Barkley and Cook and then the rest of the quarterbacks.
Let's see. And Hawk went 411. And Hawkinson's about the part where if you don't get in on that, then you're kind of like, okay, now what?
Yeah, I want Hawk and Pitts. I view Andrews in a different tier. I view like for me, it's Kelsey in a tier of his own, Waller in a tier of his own, Kittle just right below Waller in his own tier.
I mean, it does help insulate not taking a tight end at, the 103, but even, the 210 would have had me, and I was debating on this, I could have went Aaron Jones or Nick Chubb and add a bit of an upgrade at running back, or, win a second quarterback with Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Matt Ryan all still there. So Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Devontae Adams were still there.
You say that Deshaun Watson was not on the board or was still on the board for you?
He might have been. Hold on.
So Watson was taken at the 505. Watson's going to be just like with Rodgers, because there's still people I think are still concerned he's going to miss time or not play. Watson, I think, could be the best value in this draft.
So there wasn't really a Rodgers discount. He went 204.
Yeah, I took him at 210.
Watson,
I took him at the 303.
But Watson is still there, and we're picking at the 606. So
yeah. So what pick did Rodgers go?
204.
Yeah, I got him at the 310.
Yeah.
So Rodgers, Watson, I still think Rodgers is far more guaranteed to play a full 17 game season. Rodgers may be that guy. Like the fact, like he went behind guys like Ryan Tannehill, which I still like in this format, Matthew Stafford. So I'm getting that almost that tier that late in the draft to pair with my insane upside pick in Hurts, because I don't know if you agree with me, but I view Hurts as having top 5, top 3 upside.
It depends, right? Because if he's inefficient again, and I don't buy in first off that he's going to be.
He's not going to be as bad as he was
last year, given what he was in college. But you also have to keep in mind that this is a guy that was a 53% passer last year.
Yeah.
And you do lose points for incompletions. And I think that's where I get a little bit of pause around a guy like Jalen Hurts that's going to have to throw a lot, that's going to have, Devonta Smith helps, but it's going to have some receiving talent that needs to develop around him, that's going to have that aging offensive line that they didn't really address. that kind of
Because he runs more.
well, it does, and you hope that the running more pays off, and that doesn't end up being a sack problem, for example, where you lose points, or an incompletion problem where you lose points. So I like the Hurts upside, but to me he's still someone I want to take in that quarterback 10 to 12 range, and he was in my draft. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Listen to me count. 7, 8, 9.
I think he was a QB 8 for me.
10. Let's see, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, I took him at the 8th
he was the
spot for me.
QB 13 in this mock draft,
He was
which
the
I'd
8th.
be happy with.
Yeah, I took him at the QB 8 spot. Brady went to pick after him.
He went ahead of Ryan, went after him. Stafford went before him.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. You also had Burrow, Tannehill, Herbert, Rodgers, Brady, Wilson, Murray, Lamar, Josh Allen, Dak, Mahomes. So Hurts is polarizing. I mean, I love the upside of Jalen Hurts. It's the incompletion thing in this format that hurts him a little bit for me, but it's also the fact that you lose points for incompletions that make guys like Tom Brady jump up. They make guys like Ryan Tannehill be valued where they're at. They make guys like
That's like Matt Ryan and Kirk
Cousins.
Yeah.
Those high completion percentage guys are really where you're at there. And
I'll take the risk. I'll take that risk in Hurts. I mean, it was only 4-game sample size from last year, and he didn't get any practice with the ones until the week before. I'll take what we saw at the end of Alabama, and then his 1 year with Oklahoma. As obviously he's not going to be 70 plus. So I would never expect that. But I think he'll be number 2 in rushing from a quarterback standpoint, in rushing right behind Jackson. And I think he could even threat that if there is a bit of a step back with the passing, if they do.
For Hurts,
if he decides to throw more and run less off of his dropbacks.
For Hurts, what you want is you want him to be around 60%.
Yeah, you basically want
as a floor. You want
hopefully like Kyler.
You want him to be. I mean, Daniel Jones range you're happy with. We hit 62.5
with no turnovers.
without the turnovers.
Yeah, without the insane turnovers. No. Daniel Jones is also interesting with what the Giants have done, but
yeah, he is. The turnovers are what give you pause about Daniel Jones.
Value.
I looked at him because of the rushing upside, but the turnovers are what give you pause there.
I actually took Fitzpatrick. Did I take him over? There's no way I did. I may have taken Ben Roethlisberger was taken over Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Was he?
That's interesting. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, 703, 704.
I took Wilson early then.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, it's all. I mean,
did.
with this,
but he's going to start. He's for sure going to start. There's nobody even we looked up who the Jets' backup was the other day, and I don't even remember anymore.
Daniel Jones went 905.
It wasn't Daniel Jones.
I know Jones gets a lot of shit. He's not going to be the next Josh Allen. But there's upside.
But
I would like him as my QB3.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I would not trust him as my QB2. There's no fucking way I'm trying to throw him out there as a must start in Superflex, in my Superflex spot. But I have no issue if he's my 3 and he shows upside, or if he hits some of the upside that there's some expectations for him to hit.
Sure. By the way, and this is why you like Zach Wilson, right? Michael P. Ryan and Michael Carter look to lead the Jets' backfield. They have freaking damn near nobody on defense. And is James Morgan or Mike White going to challenge him?
I'm not concerned that
By the way,
Zach Wilson's not going.
Shout out Mike White. who
Mike
I
White.
didn't know was on a roster.
Mr. Statue himself. I have zero concern that Wilson will not play a full 17 unless, outside of barring injury. Like, he's going to play a full 17. But at that point, it's what you expect from him, from an efficiency standpoint. And for me, I think I would write on Trey Lance.
Even if you get Drew Lock out of Zach Wilson, I think that without the turnovers, I think you're okay.
The rookie quarterbacks are going to be very interesting.
They will be.
Trevor Lawrence went in the 4th round of my mock, and I went at the 412, so we went the term, but
307 in mine.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little ugly to start out for all these rookies.
Probably will be.
Yeah, it's in a little bit of obviously growing pains.
Little run on wide receivers going on as I look at how mine unfolds.
It's going to happen at some point.
After my pick, Josh Jacobs went, and then Cooper, DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb.
I think only one pick's been made since mine. That was Nyheim Hines.
All right, we've beaten that horse to death.
Boom! Beat the shit.
All right, let's go ahead and I'm gonna read some Roto World.
Carl Nassib. Should we talk about the news in football that's more important beyond football?
Go ahead.
Carl Nassib. Is that right? I'm assuming it's wrong.
Nassib, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that's famous for giving financial advice on Hard Knocks.
That's right. I forgot
10% interest.
10% interest. He came out as gay. He's the first active NFL player to come out as being gay, and this is a huge moment. Obviously, Michael Sam, I think, was the 2012 draft class. He was a 7th round pick by the Rams, but he never made their roster, never played a game or a snap. But it's big for Nassib because he's obviously going to he's a rotational lineman. But it's big because now you have your first openly gay player in the NFL that should play. That's going to help obviously open up doors, and conversation and dialogue. I think this is a massive step forward, and hopefully other players, if there's other players that are in that same boat, can come forward. But thankfully, for what I've seen, very, very little negative response, to this from the trolls on Twitter, or just the trolls in the universe.
No, I think the biggest thing that I've seen really isn't so much negative. It's just downplaying it. Like, what's the big deal? And yeah, that is kind of equally dumb because first off, Michael Sam did it, 9 years ago. But the thing with that is he came out when he was still at the SEC, totally tanked his draft stock, which was wrong, but it happened.
Yeah.
And then floated around some practice squad stuff, was, I think part of the Richie Incognito bullying thing in Miami. Was he caught up in that or no?
No.
That was somebody else.
That was another offensive lineman that was just more so Incognito being a piece of shit.
Right. And then, from there, he floated around practice squads and stuff. He never made an active roster. That's why Nassib is the first active NFL player to come out that actually has a decent money contract. It's actually at least a rotational pass rusher and has been for a little bit now. And the response has been overwhelmingly positive. But when you think of your normal, tough guy, air quotes for those watching on YouTube, if you think of your normal tough guy sports, football's at the top of that list. It's one of the places where you would think, anyway, where it would be one of the most uncomfortable to come out in. Football is rough and tough, and, the fact that he did and stood up is always a testament and takes balls.
Yep.
But, the positive response has been there. And you know what? I think some of the people saying what's the big deal, yes, it's downplaying it and minimizing it, and that's stupid, but that also kind of says where we've come as a society to where it's not hate now, it's I don't see this as that big of a thing. He's gay, cool. That's, I mean, you don't want to downplay it, but that's also a sign of acceptance as a society of, yeah, all right, that's a thing. Like, somebody's gay. Not worth my time to hate on that. Not worth my time to make a big deal out of this. Awesome, man. Good for you. Keep living your life. And again, I'm not downplaying it either because I think it is big news, but to me that just says, that's a lot of people will construe that as a hate statement as far as, downplaying it and minimizing it. But to me that just says the fact that the reaction to this, by the most negative reaction to this, isn't to hate, it's to say, I don't get it, what's the big deal, shows how far we've come, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. I agree. And it does deserve to be celebrated, and it does deserve to at least be talked about. But it's also a good thing that we are getting to a point where we don't need to, it doesn't need to be overly thrown in people's faces. It's becoming more and more acceptable. And as more, professional sports, both men and women's sports, come together and start to truly embrace it and to accept it. And it should only, hopefully it should only get better. Also, other news, how about the tight end camp that Greg Olsen and George Kittle and those guys are putting on?
I didn't know. I saw something about that. I know Tebow wasn't invited.
Yeah, well,
Lack of experience.
I think they came out and said it was because at that point there was far too many people.
Yeah,
I think
it was. They also cited just lack of experience at the position, which is true.
Yeah, that too.
So.
Yeah, which is very much true.
So what is it?
47 is 47, 45 different tight ends from across the league are all together. It was so this was started by, I believe, Greg Olsen and George Kittle and Travis Kelce, and it's to bring tight ends around the league together to help kind of promote the buddiness amongst the position for everybody across the league, and to also help people get better at the position. There's been videos of drills going around. There's been videos of night one, which I believe was last night, which I was Kelce as being that super egregious drunk hype man, and just in the background going, "Fuck yeah, man, you're the fucking best."
Was he?
Woo! Just going fucking crazy.
Was he saying that to Nick Vanette?
No, yeah, right.
I hope
it was when it was when Olsen and Kittle were trying to talk, and you got your boy in the background just fucking hyping you up. So, tight ends don't get enough love, and with the emergence of some of the fun ones coming out, especially Kittle, and with the respect Kelce is obviously drawn, I'm pumped for the position. I'm pumped to see what comes from this. But I thought it was a cool little note that these guys put on this little tight end camp to help kind of grow the bond amongst the players at the position, and then also improve across the league, which is great for football in general.
New to the position and a limited amount of spots in the attendees was why Tebow wasn't invited, by the way. So it was both. All right, yeah, no, that's cool, and you love to see that camaraderie and people actually helping people get better. It's a good mark for society, a good mark to take to your everyday life instead of hating on the person that's worse than you. Give them pointers, help them get better.
Exactly.
Invite them to come hang out and join and practice. I mean, hell, shit just happened to me on a disc golf course this week. So
I was happy. That's why I love disc golf so much.
Worlds
is going on too, by the way. Have you watched any?
I have not gotten a chance to yet, but I definitely will. Even if I have to watch the replays on Jomez, some of the Worlds.
I've been dabbling with the thought of picking up a Disc Golf Network to watch the live coverage, but I also found out on UDisc they offer up live scoring updates.
They do in the pro version for sure.
Yep, and I've watched it started Wednesday, and I watched Tuesday. Yeah, it started on Tuesday, so I watched Tuesday and Wednesday's coverage. Spoiler alert, Kelvin Heiberg has cut his hair, and I'm very upset
Aw.
about it. I'm so upset. He looks young. He doesn't look like the hipster, super stoner kid with the long arms.
Well, that sucks.
I'm a bit disappointed with him cutting his hair, but I've looked at scoring. I won't talk about it, but I've looked up to scoring, and with the massive cluster of players around, it's going to be
It's gonna be
very
fun.
fun finish.
And now that I've gotten into that, I can enjoy that, especially the finish. But yeah, I'll definitely have to turn it up and watch a bit and watch on Jomez as they follow your lead packs and whatnot. That's how I've been watching. So it'll be cool. You saw that Discmania's pulled out with Innova and is going to be molding their own disc now.
And they've gone back to making their original line,
Right.
which is huge because I got buddies that are big, P fans and like just massive Discmania fans and the lines that they make. I don't have as much. I do have a couple of DD3s, which is the distance drivers. I may look at some putters.
I actually bought another disc out of their Evo line after throwing that mid-range I bought the other day
Nice.
that I liked, and then I think I bought an Avenger SS too. So
Venture. Is that Discraft?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was Discraft. Just letting you know what I did. But I was
I'm
out.
proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
We were out. Lindsay went out with me throwing the other day, 2 nights ago, I think. We went out and played the same course that you and I about died on. From heat exhaustion and climbing log piles
I love
and
that
everything.
course. I cannot wait to go back and play it.
So, my disc was out of the creek, by the way. So naturally, I had to put another one into the pond. So we'll see if that shows up in Lost and Found at some point. My name's on the bottom of that one, at least.
That's fair.
But now I was out there throwing and ran into a guy on the first tee box, and chatted for a minute. He introduced himself, and then went about our way, and then Lindsay misunderstood some directions I gave her because she was trying to stay on the pass. So I told her, or at least where it's flat. So on one, I told her to go up to the top because they got that hill that slants kind of sideways going down towards the pond.
Yeah.
So I told her to go to the top of that hill where it flattened out and then just walk across and meet me on the tee box for 2 because there's a path right there. And she just kept walking around, so I peeled off after I played 3, I think, and stopped, to try to find her. And dude came back up and chatted with me a bit more and let me know that they had a group and invited me to come play with them and stuff, and introduced himself and on Facebook. So told me how to join, and then again I was throwing at the wrong basket.
It happens.
And
that's the problem with playing when you haven't played enough at a course.
Yeah. So I was throwing at the
It
wrong
happens.
basket, and it turns out my first tee shot I thought was crap would have been great for the basket I was supposed to be throwing at. But he pointed my disc down there, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to send you the invite to this group. So he did. So I'll have to get together with them for
Hell yeah.
a couple plays. But anyway, tied into you, same thing. Just, you see people, scoop them up.
You
help
love
them
to
out.
see it.
A lot
Yep.
more of that happening in the world today. I've been very, very fortunate to catch a lot of that and a lot of people that are willing to help. So that was just the latest example. Let's get into some news, eh?
Hey.
Whatever might be worth it.
Oof, that's pretty-
Steelers released right guard David DeCastro, so they're down another starting lineman. Not good news for Najee Harris.
And they signed former Chargers player Trey Turner.
They did. So,
Yeah.
not sure that's an
Uh,
upgrade.
I doubt it. It's Castro is widely considered their best offensive lineman, though there's been talks about him potentially wanting to retire due to his ankle injuries he's been battling the last couple of years. This is one of the worst offensive lines that got worse. Again, it's you don't expect a whole lot from Harris from an efficiency standpoint. It might be a little ugly at times, but volume. This is why we preach volume about running backs and redraft leagues. It's volume.
Yep. Lamar Jackson is negotiating a contract extension without an agent, which is rarely ever a good idea. I get why players do it, but it never works out in their favor.
I think the only one where it did was Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
He bet on himself pretty hard.
There was a Panthers lineman who got part of his in Bitcoin, which was really good if he got out a month ago.
Yeah, I got it. Don't want to talk about it now. It looks like Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield also have not signed extensions. Mm-hmm. I expect the least. I expect all three of them to be done at some point this year, at some point this offseason. Jackson said he wants to wait till Allen and Baker get theirs, which makes sense if he doesn't have an agent. He wants to see what the fucking value might be worth. Who do you think gets more money, Allen or Jackson?
Allen.
It's not Baker.
It's probably. I think it's Allen, because one, he's going to use an agent to negotiate, and two,
I was gonna say,
and two, he's, whereas people still believe in Jackson with the arm. Allen last season proved it with the arm, but now he's got to come out and at least sustain some semblance of that performance and not have a down year, or get an extension done this offseason. So
I think it's going to be very close. I think they're both. I think whoever gets the second deal done. I think they're both going to be very close. I think they're both worth to be very close. Jackson, as an MVP, he's led Baltimore to the playoffs in all three of the leagues since he's become a starter. All 3 seasons since he's become a starter. He's got that playoff victory along with Allen. Allen obviously deserves that. I agree. I think Allen could get the most just based on recency bias. Obviously, both quarterbacks mean the world to their team. So, not Mahomes level. I don't think we'll see any 10-year contracts. You think they both sign for 5? I wouldn't be shocked if Jackson goes a little bit less than a year. So, maybe 3 or 4. Maybe 4. Maybe Baltimore could be a little concerned.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
With rushing. I think Allen will get to 5. Based just what you said, he kind of calmed the nerves on his passing. Jackson with the amount of hits he's taken. Maybe Baltimore obstacle lesser years.
So Roger Goodell is going to allow. The NFL is going to allow, I guess, teams to challenge whether a COVID-19 infection would be considered a football-related injury or not, potentially allowing them to withhold game checks.
I'm not surprised as the country and the higher power-ups are trying to push people to be vaccinated.
Right. Players Association may or may not have a fit. I don't know where they side with that. So, but either way, just more pressure on them. Sorry, yep. Cole.
Sorry, Cole, and the players who may or may not follow suit.
So Keyshawn Vaughn looks like he's being relegated to special teams duty.
Antonio Gibson's improvement is night and day going into year 2.
Add that to the cliche section.
No, I was about to say Devontae Adams, beginning stages of an extension talk. There's no fucking way Adams doesn't sign an extension unless he has guaranteed that Rodgers is going to play.
Yeah, no, he'll sign an extension.
No fucking way. There's no fucking way, right?
No, he'll sign an extension.
You think he'll sign one, even without Rodgers being there?
Yep.
Okay.
Darius Guy settled out of court with the woman who accused him of domestic violence. Charges were dismissed.
You think Geis gets?
We'll get another shot.
You think he'll get another shot? I mean, this is going to be. Yeah, I think we'll see. I mean, that was kind of the talk when the news broke out last year. Was if he avoids jail time,
and he did, and he had avoided a conviction, and it was thrown out. So yeah, I think somebody will give him a shot. I mean,
think he gets any suspension based because it got settled out of court?
Probably not. No, backlash? The NFL might, but even if so, it's only going to be a game or 2. I mean, I don't think this is going to be Kareem Hunt like, for example, where it was on video. So,
I wonder if is it worth the speculative ad in Dynasty?
Not yet.
Until we know where he's at.
Wait till you hear that he is working out for somebody.
Yeah.
Or rumors of interest. Unless you're a rebuilding team, then yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Dolphins are prioritizing downfield passing aggressiveness this offseason. Well, no shit when you add Will Fuller and
Jalen
Waddle. Yeah, you're going to be practicing working the ball downfield.
Tua does work the ball well downfield.
Yeah.
Him, coming off the hip injury. I am a big fan of the Dolphins offense. I think they're them in Buffalo. And the Jets. I mean, fuck. Maybe the AFC East won't be the most laughable division in football. I mean, I know it was the NFC East from last year, but maybe the AFC East will actually be respected.
Yeah. Here's one for you. Pete Carroll said tight end Gerald Everett will be a real threat in the throwing game. So,
oh, God. Add that to the...
Working him out at quarterback, apparently. He's going to be a real threat to throw the football.
Oh.
Add that to cliches.
I can't. At least he can run. He's got to be better than Tyree Jackson. Remember Tyree Jackson from Buffalo?
Yep. Oh, let's see. No. Brown's probation ended early.
There's a video of Odell Beckham on a treadmill running.
There's a video of Saquon Barkley cutting and running routes.
Yay.
Let's see, some hype around David Montgomery and Darren Waller, just that they're going to be better than last year. Throw that on the cliche pile. Frank Clark arrested Sunday night in Los Angeles for felony illegal possession of a firearm. Then an Uzi and a duffel bag at his SUV. Routine traffic stop. Booked in L.A. County Jail behind bars.
I think he's going to get...
He was acquired by the Seahawks prior to the 2019 season. Oh, from the Seahawks. My bad. Okay. So the NFL's back, basically, is what that is. Rookie Zaven Collins arrested for reckless driving in Scottsdale.
Well, let's see what happens from that.
Mac Jones has done enough in spring to merit a real competition.
I think he should also start over Cam Newton.
I do too.
I think Cam should be let go and he'll go to Denver.
Another person I thought was surely out of the league. Deshaun Kaiser has a chance to win the number 2 quarterback spot for Tennessee, edging out Logan Woodside.
Alex Collins appeared to receive the most reps of any Seattle running back.
Right. I love the off season.
I love off season. Let's make Alex Collins.
Here you go. This one's obligatory. Sammy Watkins was the Ravens' best receiver at minicamp.
Yeah, it's just like outside of the many reports that Bateman should be that Bateman's been the best. Reports the Bears will give Justin Fields a lot of playing time in preseason. Well, I mean that's the best time to play your rookies is preseason.
Yeah. Here's one for news. I can't even. Carlos Hyde could see a legitimately high volume of carries if James Robinson's hurt in 2021.
How fucking bored could you be to put that as oh man, this guy could see a lot of work if another player gets
if James Robinson's hurt.
Oh man.
Hey, Khalil Herbert could see a high volume of carries if Tariq Cohen and David Montgomery miss time.
Oh man, Deshaun Kaiser could be the starting quarterback for the Chargers if something happens.
Something happens to Ryan Tannehill.
Something happens to Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, that's the favorite.
Impressing coaches. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. Ravens picked up Jawan James. Good for them.
Yep.
Somebody was going to.
AFC's going to be.
Bills wide receiver Cole Beasley said COVID-19 protocols may force him into retirement.
That I hope happens.
Good.
Get the fuck and go make your shitty rap albums and get the fuck out of this league then.
Right. Don't you got, I don't know, trust funds and shit to rap about?
Yeah. Fucking baby. I think that's...
no, we're still going. Hold on. There's a lot of...
Tyler Conklin emerged as a guy that's moving upward. Add that to the fucking wall.
The cliche wall is my favorite.
It is. I think that may be my favorite offseason.
Patrick Mahomes was able to do the things that he needed to do at OTAs. It's a legitimate headline.
Jordan Matthews converting to tight end.
Saw that.
He added 30 pounds this offseason.
Jesus.
That's fuck. Are we starting to see the? Yeah, we're starting to see the Darren Waller,
Ooh.
Akeem Butler effect.
Here's one for you. This is a guy that had actually some flashes last year, too. Chad, not Chris Hansen, signed by the Lions. He immediately slides in with Quintez Cephas and Amon-Ra St. Brown as the top 3 wide receivers on that team.
Well, he still had Rashad Perryman and Tyrell Williams.
Right, so he slides in with Quintez Cephas. And
Lions, the most uninspired. If there is a receiving core that I am
I'm excited to see how this goes.
Oh my God, I can't preach to take
Anyone.
the number one for the Patriots and say that I'm going to just punt the Lions.
Oh, I can. I will punt everybody but T.J. Hawkinson, and in the last round, I'm going to take freaking Chad, not Chris Hansen, to be my Brian Hartline. Is how that's going to work.
The Bears signed their 15th tight end,
Jake
Butt, formerly of the Broncos.
The Bears are into butt stuff. Laquan Treadwell now at the Jaguars.
I love how they always say, like, formerly first-round pick.
Yeah, former first-round pick.
Okay.
Rub it in. Anything else fun? Penny Hart. I don't even know who that is. Wide receiver for the Seahawks, Penny Hart, had a spectacular couple weeks in OTAs and minicamp. You heard it here first. Go get Penny Hart.
Yeah, Penny Hart, guys. No, I think we are down to the news that we talked about last week.
Yep, because there's Roberto Aguayo.
There's
that's actually a pretty fun segment of let's read Roto. Let's read. That's going to be a good off-season segment of what are the most hilariously basic headlines we can find on Roto World.
I got a listener question that's not in the listener chat.
What's that?
It's from Justin. Justin from the Father Son Football Podcast. Yeah, boy Justin. I did some show with during the season with a name I won't mention. He asked me Goff or Winston in Dynasty.
I mean, gotta be Goff, right? Because the Lions seem to be at least. Well, I don't know.
Goff's contract he'll likely be on the Lions until 2022.
Right,
the fear
so
is
at least a bridge quarterback
through next season. Is how high of a draft pick do the Lions get, and then how quickly does said draft pick supplant Goff? Winston.
Well, you end up in a Carson Wentz scenario, but Winston, you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing with Winston: either he has a great year, and the Saints sign on and say he's our guy, or some other team that needs a quarterback takes it, or he has a bad year and he's probably cooked. So, I mean, I guess it really depends on what your team's situation is, like most things. I don't know.
Yeah.
The upside in Winston's a lot higher.
So he's asked me a few questions based on this draft.
Goff's a lot safer.
It's a 14-team third-round reversal. I don't see if it's super flex or not. I'm assuming because he's asking about Josh Allen at the top of the draft. So I'm assuming super flex. He's super pumped we're talking about. I told him we're talking about this on the show.
So
I think I go with the upside with Winston. I think I take the upside. I think I take the upside. If Winston plays well enough, which we've seen him at times play well enough, I think he can retain his starting job longer than Goff. But we know that the Lions are not a playoff. We know that they're a bottom 5.
Yeah, and we know that the
Saints could make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and we know what Winston's capable of if it can be harnessed. Goff has a much, much lower ceiling. The floor might be higher, and it might be higher for another year or two. But
I don't even know if it's that
a much lower ceiling. I think I got to go Winston.
Yeah,
also, I'm a giant Jameis Winston fanboy, so
yeah,
there's that too.
This is the only fucking podcast in the universe where both people agree on Winston at all times.
At all times.
At all times.
Even the year he went 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
He was a fucking god if he didn't have any penalties for turnover, or if it
yeah,
really light penalties.
like -1 per interceptions, you were happy.
Yeah, I played
And
in
I
a
had
league
him that
where
year.
it was -1. It was -2.
I had him for a
And-
-2-point interception league, and I loved it.
Yeah. He was. He looked bad first half, and then come back, throw 5 touchdowns, and then you were like, okay, I'm cool with this.
Got to eat some W's.
Got to eat them W's. We have anything else? We've talked disc golf and football. I think we've talked and Scott Fish, which is obviously gonna. We'll give updates during the drafts when the draft starts in a couple weeks. We'll give updates on our drafts.
We will.
On our shows, and
Especially
we'll talk about it.
that Thursday show when we should be a little ways in. So we absolutely
Justin
will.
agreed with us too. By the way, Justin said he also agrees it should be Winston.
Yeah, good. Awesome. 3 people agree on Jameis Winston. That's never happened before.
We will not get on. God, was it our boy John Hogue that doesn't like Winston? I think Hogue.
I'm sure Hogue doesn't. I don't think Matt Hicks
He's anti-lock. I know that.
I don't think Matt Hicks does.
The people that we respect in this industry,
The people that we respect and have the most fun with in this industry don't like the people we like.
That's fine. We'll be sitting alone on our pedestal when Winston becomes a top 10 quarterback because he makes the Saints not actually play fucking Taysom Hill.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
All right. That's the show.
Beers. We got beers.
Oh, we
to
got
talk
beers.
about.
We do got beers. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Let me take a sip on air. So as you can tell from a double dry up triple IPA that clocks in at 10%, it's gonna be juice forward, boozy. Generally, most of these hops will always bring out some sort of stone fruit. I get a lot of grapefruit. You get a little bit of mango. The juiciness still reigns through. I actually don't get a whole lot of booze in this, but this is a traditional heavy ABV hazy IPA that's done well. So again, like usual, I'm a big fan of Black Stack. It's always hard to do a lot of beer reviews based around hazy IPAs because most of them are the same. So hopefully hoppers will be a lot more exciting to talk about.
Yeah, it is. So the one thing about apple beers that always gets me is definitely the nose, because there's no way that it just doesn't smell like apple juice that's set out for a couple days. Like every apple beer I've ever had has that same off-putting smell. The good news is that most of the time the taste doesn't live up to that smell, and that's exactly how this one is. Now, going for cereal, I can only assume they are aiming at Apple Jacks. Definitely missed the mark there, but that doesn't mean it's a bad beer. It's tart apple forward. There's definitely a wave of vanilla that comes in afterwards, which is why I say it missed the mark, because, I don't know that there's been vanilla added to this, but I believe there's the comment of natural flavors.
I'm assuming from what the
So-
wheat or oats use.
Yeah, I don't know of a grain that'll really give you vanilla notes, though, unless you just add vanilla.
I thought what do they use in cream ales?
Flaked maize, corn,
Corn. Yeah, so maybe that.
and then if
maybe
you add
that's
vanilla
it.
to it, maybe, I don't know. But
Okay.
either way, I mean, flaked maize is normally just for sweetness, and then if you want vanilla, you add vanilla. So, I mean, it definitely tastes like there's vanilla in here, even though it's not listed, which they don't have to list it. So, and then, a bit of tartness, a little bit of cinnamon on the back end. I mean, it's a good beer. The vanilla definitely really helps to balance things out. I don't think it hit the mark on trying to be, taste like Apple Jacks, if that's what they're going for. Maybe there's some apple cereal I'm not aware of, but it's a really good beer. So I'll definitely drink the rest of it. It's going to be a good summer porch drinker for sure.
Hell yeah.
All right. That's what we got. See you next week.
See you guys next week.